How's that? My name is Adam. I've been in the trades for about 10 years now. I started working when I was 16, 15, 16, flipping a house with a friend's stepdad who was a general contractor. And then I traveled and worked for other general contractors all over the United States, from Hawaii all the way to Seattle, all the way to Maine. And I have done a little bit of everything. Favorite things are stonework and woodworking. I like to do fireplaces, brickwork, but I also like to paint and I also like to do drywall. And this is kind of the first benefit, I think, of being someone who's more of a handyman and being able to do a wide variety of things is I don't get sick of any of it. If I have to only ever do drywall, because that's what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go into drywall and do that. I'm going to hate drywall because it sucks after a while. Same goes for painting, but I've never had to only stick to one thing. And I've gotten really good at a lot of things, and because I've done them enough. And I like all of them. Being the type of man who can do a little bit of everything and not just be master of none, but really be a master of all the things he decides to do, which takes a lot of work, takes a special kind of man. And I don't think I'm special, but I think I'm unique in the way to where I've been able to pull myself out of bed every single day I've worked for the last 10 years. There's never been a boss who would fire me and then I would have to go find another job. I've never been in that position. I've always been in the position where if I don't feel like waking up and going and doing the job, I could easily just sleep in and say no, because it's one client out of hundreds that I'm going to end up working for during the course of the next 5 years, let's say. So it takes that kind of tenacity and that embracing the hard work and the work ethic associated with forcing yourself to do it every single day without having anything biting at your butt, without having a boss who's going to fire you. But I understand that not every man has that inner fire to keep himself going. He needs that outer pressure. He needs that head over him um, in order to keep him going to work. So being in the trades is a great thing for men in general. If you want to feel useful and you want to feel rewarded in the work that you're doing, go into the trades. We need more guys going into the trades. The personal part of it for me, the most difficult thing for me has been confronting the fear that's associated with learning a new skill. It feels like almost every single job I have to learn something new. And for a while, that was a sort of anxiety that really made it not fun to get up in the morning. It made it really not fun to go to the job because I didn't have years of training to do that one specific thing. But what I did have was years of proof that anything I tried to learn and do, I did. I learned really quick and I performed really well. So I had that background proof. And then moving forward, the anxiety started to go away because the more proof you have of how good of a job you can do, especially on the spot with something you've never done before, or being able to know what type of questions to search on Google or YouTube so that you can find the best, most proficient, foolproof, non-failing way to build or fix something, you can get something pretty dang quick if you know what questions to ask. But the hardest part has been that anxiety. But I also think it's been the most beneficial part because it's taught me true self-confidence. Not fake it till you make it, but make it and then you get the proof that you made it. I mean, there's no faking involved. You can't fake it in construction. You either know what you're doing or you don't. You either do a good job or you don't. There's 100,000 billion different ways to do a thing. And you'll hear contractors bitching about other contractors all day long. That's a lot of the time all they do is just talk shit about other people's work. And I understand that a lot of that is because the work was actually crappy. And we should point that out and we should make videos about it and talk about how that work is crappy, don't do it that way, do it the right way, or one of the right ways, just don't do it the wrong way. But just because it's not your way doesn't make it wrong. Because, like I said, there's 100,000 zillion billion different ways to do a thing. What matters is that the end result performs for the longest, most beautifulest period of time. But I want to talk about the pros, which the pros are any day I want to take off, I can take off. I observe Sabbath. I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm also not a Christian. I am also not a Jehovah's Witness. I don't belong to any group. I keep the Ten Commandments. And the seventh day is Saturday. And yeah, I know that calendars have changed that. Whatever. I keep Saturdays. I know a lot of businesses would make me work on Saturday or they would fire me. So I get to choose the days I take off, which is very good for me and my faith, and also very good for me and my wife, because as we have children and they're born at home, my clients understand when that time comes around, those seasons in my life come around, where I need to take a week or a month off. It's not a problem. You know, if my wife, there's been periods where she's gotten sick and I need to take time off. If I was at a job, I'd be screwed. We would be screwed. So we're very spoiled in that way too, to where I create my own work. I fill my own calendar. I have to go out and meet the clients and look at the jobs. I have to do every role of a company, of a business. I have to do the work. I have to do the bids. I have to meet the people. I have to advertise. I have to get my face and my work out there so that people can see me and call me. So it's a lot. And a lot of the time it's 12 hours a day worth of doing stuff. Sometimes it's more. And sometimes it's less. Sometimes it's 0 hours a day of doing something, because there's slow seasons too. So I guess the main thing is the pros is you get to create the calendar you want. You get to fill the days that you want. You get to work for the people you choose to work for. You get to do the type of work you choose to do, but you have to be strong enough inside to make yourself work hard, because there's no one that's going to make you do it. So if you're lazy, being self-employed in this way, probably not the best way. Now, I know being self-employed in construction is different than working in construction. I know that you can work in construction and be employed, but I'm more talking towards the guys who want to be self-employed, because that's what I've done. That's what I have experience in. I've worked on crews, but I've never worked for a big old company. And really the cons are the same as if you were working for a company. You know, there could be a time where I don't have work, where it's just impossible to get work. People don't have the money to fix something up. The economy's going up and down, or my ad isn't reaching the right people, or family is sick, or I need to be home for whatever reason, or I'm sick. Or it's winter. You know, there's going to be times where the money is not being made. And if I was in a company, then maybe that wouldn't happen. Maybe I would just stick with that company, or I would get, you know, sick days where I can get paid, and vacation days where I'm getting paid, and insurance and all the stuff that they would take care of. But the thing is, if I was working for that type of business, they could also lay me off any day they wanted. Or the company could just go belly up. Excuse me. So there's no security. What I like about being self-employed, and especially in construction, is I get to build and fix, and I get to be a useful human being in the world. I think that's probably one of the most rewarding things a man can do. The other thing is, if all my clients today decided they didn't like me and my work, and they said, never come here again, we're never giving you more work, I'd be fine. I could go find more clients. I'm completely self-sufficient in the way where, yes, I lean on my clients, but in a way, they work for me. Because I get to choose who I'm working for. Now, I know that sounds a little cocky, and I'm very, very blessed, and I feel very, very fortunate to have such amazing clients and people that appreciate me and are willing to pay me what I'm worth, and they tell me thank you, and it looks good and beautiful. I mean, some people just don't have it in them to compliment and say, hey, good job, I appreciate you very much. I mean, it's amazing how many people I've worked for that didn't say that. And I know I did a killer job. And they just don't have it in them. I mean, it's amazing how unappreciative people can be. So I'm very, very blessed. But at the same time, I picked them to work for. So if they didn't have me, they'd have some other guy who probably drinks and smokes and shows up late and leaves early. And so in that way, I know I'm a catch. In that way, I know I'm irreplaceable because there's not a lot of other guys that are like that. Most guys in construction are going to drink and be high. So there's a lot of room to win. There is a lot of room to win all over the country, probably all over the world, for the handyman person, for anyone who wants to get into construction. If you're hardworking and if you have the will to make yourself work, there's money out there to be made. And there are awesome skills out there to learn. And it's okay that it takes a long time to learn them. It's okay that I'm not still a master mason. I'm good enough to get the job done and make it look beautiful. That's all that matters. I feel like the number one thing I've learned is that if the communication is there with the client, if you're really good at communicating, and if you show up when you say you're going to show up, and you do the work the way you explained the way you were going to do the work, and all expectations are there on the table, everything is as clear as can be, there's no miscommunication, and your main goal is to solve the problem for the customer and make them as happy as they can be and leave their home or their yard or whatever you're working on way more beautiful than it was when you showed up, then you get the most reward and they get the most reward and everybody's happy, and that is such a beautiful way to live. I prefer that way more than working at Walmart where everyone hates me and I hate everyone else, or working at a restaurant where everyone's grumpy and has bad lifestyle. I mean, I'm not influenced by anybody because I work by myself most of the time. I'm not influenced by having to work for an old fart who has bad habits, or having to work for a guy similar to my age who has bad habits or talks away I don't want to talk or listens to music I don't want to listen to. I mean, there's so much freedom, and I really wouldn't give it up for anything. I love what I do, and I would like to see more guys doing it. I would like the ability to collaborate with more guys who are doing it. So comment your thoughts. If you want to get into the trades, let me know. I'll make more videos on this topic in the future if this video does good. Let me know if you have any questions. New video every Saturday. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you liked it, and I'll see you next week. Also, this is my Atlas stone. This one is 170. Also, another thing in construction is they'll be like, oh, you're gonna frick up your back. You know what? Do deadlifts, do stone lifts. I mean, do stuff to make yourself strong so that when you're on the job and you do a weird twist motion, picking up a box or grabbing a tool, you don't screw yourself over. Do your corrective exercises. This, I would not call a corrective exercise. This is more of a fun exercise. I'm not going anywhere from here. That's the technique.